Well, our special guest today is Dr. Karine, Melissa, and you are first of all, you have your doctorate. Congratulations. That's a
Thank
big
you.
deal. Congratulations. You are a resident of Northeast Miami called Miami Gardens. You are the president of the Women's Chamber of Commerce, and that your website is
CCMiami.org.
All right.
Yeah.
And so people can go there and find out all information. So let's talk first about you, your background. Tell us about where you lived and where you went to school and why you're involved with the Women's Chamber.
Awesome. Okay, so thank you for having me here today. I am from Jamaica, born in Jamaica, but I moved right into now the city of
Very colorful.
Thank you. The city of Miami Gardens. And that became home for a very long time. So I've been there for over 30 years in the city of Miami Gardens. And my parents were both born and raised in Jamaica. And we have such a traditional home. And so I've been raised with just strong values and care for people and wanting to see people win. And it just, as I was going through college and I just started to gather more women together that had entrepreneurial dreams and hopes, I just became drawn to this idea of helping women achieve their goals and their dreams. And so as my career began to grow, I said, we got to do this for women. We have to find something that helps women fulfill their needs. And so we came across the chamber.
That's wonderful. One of the things that we've noticed is that there are lots of people that want to do stuff, but there's the glass ceiling sometimes is pretty tight, right?
Yeah.
And so frequently, the person that's creating that, all right, they're just carrying on from yesteryear to do that, right? We get that. And I think one of the perfect example is FIU. It's a great school. They got good medical school, great medical school, great law school. And what's happening in the community, finally, people that are in place that have gone to FIU are recognizing their brothers and sisters over there. I'm going to hire you because I like where you went to school, all right? All right, versus another one. And until there are enough people up top that can help people along, it's important that you continue that work so you can get those people that can help the other folks.
Yeah.
So Women's Chamber of Commerce,
Yeah.
how long has the chamber been serving the people?
For 40 years, Thelma Gibson launched this chamber 40 years ago, and I've been president for the past 3 years.
So Thelma Gibson, tell us a little bit about her.
Oh my gosh, she is the sweetest soul, but she cares hard for people. And so she started this chamber with, I believe it was 2 Hispanic, 2 Black, and 2 white. And she really, really meant this chamber to impact all communities. You know, there was not a race issue or anything like that. It was women, period. And so, yeah, so we build on that.
So her husband was a former city of Miami commissioner many years ago. The family's very, very famous for the things. She's very involved still.
Yes.
And she's 90 plus, I think.
Yes.
Right? Still involved with healthcare. All right.
Yes.
Still going around in a wheelchair, and it's like good for her that she's
so full of life.
Yes. And a friend of mine is on that board, right, with her.
Yes.
Right? Or he's with her, right, along that. So she helped create Miami and mold it. So, and I'm glad that she created that environment. So tell us about the things that are when you have chamber meetings, which people can find out they can go to your website.
Yes.
And I know that Rochelle's going to put up on the screen pretty soon. Tell us about what's discussed in the meeting and how that's conducted.
So one of the main things or the main topics is always, what are the needs? What are the needs of the women in our community? And because we have members in the Tri-County area, we focus on, or we have women on the board that are from all over. So not just Miami-Dade County, but we focus on the needs and then how we can meet those needs. That is the topic of the discussion every meeting. And once we find out how we meet those needs, then we execute. So whether it's through workshops or events or meeting with the mayor, having events with the mayor, this is what we do.
And typically where are those meetings held?
We meet online a lot, technology, but we meet in the city of Miami Gardens, sometimes at Top Golf. That is one of our friends.
There's Top Golf in Miami Gardens?
Yeah, Top Golf Miami Gardens.
Not the one on Doral.
No. We have one right in Miami Gardens.
Did you ever get it over the net?
No.
I thought you go there to eat. You go there to eat, not to play
we
that
go
golf
there to
stuff.
eat.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So So tell us a little bit about the membership, the type of businesses, if you don't mind.
So we have all types of businesses, which is one of the reasons why I love it so much. So we have women that are makeup artists, entrepreneurs, right? But then we have very high level C-suite women. So it can be owners of banks or executives in banks, and it can be a doctor. So we have women from all industries, and I love it that way because we learn from each other.
And are there, do you bring in speakers? And tell us about those type of speakers. If you remember, the last couple would be
yes. So we bring in speakers a lot, which actually the mayor was our last one. We had Mayor Daniela Levine Cava, and she spoke about the resources that are available to women in our county, and that was a game changer for a lot of women in the room.
So when my daughter turned 13, she was bar mitzvahed, and when I gave the fatherly talk, one of the things that I brought up was all the women that have achieved massive success. And I looked it up, and when I was saying it, I was realizing that I was creating for her this ceiling that wasn't right here. It was way up high, and hopefully she didn't have to worry about it. And we realized that women play such an integral role. It has changed so much from Leave It to Beaver time to what it is now.
Yeah.
And it's up to people that look like me and in these positions to open that door and to allow that to occur. And we realize if we don't allow it to occur, then we're not going to grow like we have. So you said your folks were from Jamaica?
Yes.
And they lived in Jamaica?
Yes.
Did you live in Jamaica?
Only until I was a baby. Like, I don't remember it at all. So I came here when I was 3. I don't remember.
And you came, but they
brought me over.
They didn't leave you over there by yourself.
No. They brought me over here.
So one of the things I'd like to explore is why people come to America. I mean, we have people from all around the world. We'll put aside all the issues that are going on now with the people that are coming here. Tell us what for your parents when they came over. I assume they were in their 20s when they came over here.
Yeah.
Why did they come to America?
I actually want to say it was this American dream that that we felt, that you can come here and be anything you want to be. I remember growing up seeing my dad as an entrepreneur. He worked all day, all night, and he had his own business, and he made a lot of money, and he gave us everything we wanted. The Christmas tree was always full. And I think that that's why they came here, to live this American dream.
When he came here, did he have any connections here? Or he just said,
no,
we're going to get on a boat or a plane or come over and say, okay, here we are, Miami. Was it
right.
Miami?
It was right directly into Miami. Yep. And some family came over with them. So they only had each other, you know?
They didn't go into the parents' business and they started their own.
Not at all. Started their own.
So what did you learn from that?
From my dad, he is definitely the inspiration when it comes to me as an entrepreneur. It is to really, no matter what, chase your dreams, no matter what, and work hard doing it. I used to complain growing up that he would never be home. But now I find myself never home because I am chasing the dreams, you know? And so for me, I learned from him that it takes everything out of you to live your dreams. And so I want that.
We were fortunate recently, and Rachel, who's producing the show, might have been here. There's a young lady, up until the age 16, she had worked at 3 migrant farms picking fruit, vegetables, one in Homestead, one in Texas, one in Pennsylvania. She was promptly physically abused by somebody in her family. And then, so at some point, the whole family left to wind up getting sexually abused by the grandfather.
Okay.
She got out of that, and she found a mentor who convinced her to go to Miami-Dade College, who convinced her to go to Berry College. She subsequently got a full scholarship to Case Western, and they actually flew her up, that's how long ago it was, to go to the class. 36 flights, she told me. And she said, Michael, when I was in school, I was within 20 miles of the fields that I used to pick potatoes from.
Wow.
She opened up a social service down in Homestead. She recently got $500,000 from the Miami Foundation and $1 million from the Bezos Family Trust, or the new one, McKinsey. And so she bought a building, which was a church, and in that building now are social services that are there. Yesterday, we had the pleasure of interviewing a young lady. She was, I think she's Haitian. She said that her parents were migrant workers. She's first generation, and she has her doctorate. So one of the things that we're saying, these powerful women that are out there and such miserable starts in life, but yet that served as a motivation to be highly successful. So tell us about some mentors that you have that have helped you along your way.
I would say definitely one of the pastors that raised me growing up. His name is Kingsley Grant, and he definitely was a big influence on molding me as a teenager into a young adult. And I think it was, or I know it was, those values that have kept me and my character in my leadership. And so that was just a big development for me.
So I'm glad you brought about leadership, because so often what we need to do is lead and allow those little eyes to be watching us, because they're looking. They get that feeling, they get it, and that matters a lot.
Yeah.
So tell us about what you're doing besides the 19-year-old kids. Any older ones or any younger ones?
Yeah, you know what? We have college now. It's for everybody, right? So I definitely have students that are older than me in my classes. So that's always a fun conversation, though. I learn from them as well as they're learning from me.
And you started a business called Loud, which is Love of Urban Design.
Yes.
And Boss Babes of South Florida.
Yes.
Tell us about those.
Yes. Oh, so those are my babies. So Loud, Love of Urban Design is a platform for artists, creatives of all kinds to come together and celebrate during Miami Art Week. And so we produce this event in the city of Miami Gardens. They're our title sponsor. And we produce just a week of art and celebration. And so that happens in December. And then Boss Babes of South Florida, I actually started this before I became a part of the Women's Chamber. And this was because I wanted a space of women who were younger and were chasing their dreams. And it's a group of entrepreneurs who really just work together to bring their dreams to reality.
It's wonderful. A month or so ago, we interviewed two artists that had work at Art Basel, and they both have their graduate degrees. One's a lawyer, one's something else. And I said, so you did what your parents wanted to do, and then you finally got to do what you wanted to do. Yes, Michael, that's the way it works. And so when I was watching them on how, when they were showing us the art, and I said, what makes that piece the price that you want? What causes that to occur? And when you're making this, do you know that it's going to be something great, or you just do it and then it becomes something great? So let's talk about some work that you've done that when you started on it, you said, oh, well, I'm going to do this. And all of a sudden it's like, wow, this is really working. So tell us about some of those experiences.
So for me, I am the producer, right? So I work with a lot of artists. And so for me, I see that art is just an outward expression of what people are feeling on the inside. That's what I've learned along the way. And I think the pricing really comes with, because many times artists don't really know how to price their work, right? Especially the emerging artist industry, they don't really know what to price something at. But through them, what I learned is that once you show the piece over and over and over, it gains value. That I didn't know before. And so that's why a lot of times artists won't sell the original piece. They'll just keep showing it, and then it creates value, and then you price it at a higher price later on.
So the value, does it change the value that the artist has? Gee, these 50 people told me over the last 6 months they really loved that, right? And it was interesting because one of the things this artist was telling me is that she just has limited numbers of reprints, because I realize if I have one that I walk into Walmart and I bought this thing versus an artist and I've got number 10 out of 100, that instantly for me increases the value. Yeah. So it's interesting when we look at art, some people look at it and go, well, it looks okay, and other people say, do you see the magnificence in that? And so when you are working with artists and you look at some of their work, do you say to yourself, that is really good?
You know what? I do. And specifically with our shows, we also do a fashion show portion of the events, right? And because
like this.
Yeah. So we believe that fashion designers are artists within themselves. So we work closely with South Florida Fashion Academy. I used to be the principal there. And we have student designers that display their work on the runway. And it's really the student designers that come up with the most artistic designs in clothes. And when you ask them what inspired you, it's really their environment. It's really what they've seen growing up or what they see in their mind that they want it to look like. And so I really, like I said, it's an outward expression of what's on the inside of what they're feeling.
So in the work that we're in, we've been in the publication field for a long time. When we sit down with writers, all right, and you see, how do you create that? And they would say the same way an artist does it, or the same way that somebody that's making a video does it,
Yeah.
or the same way an architect would put a building. And you go, what's going on in their brain that they're able to do that? So what goes on in your brain, all right, as far as what the next 5 to 10 years looks like for you?
Oh man, what goes on in my brain? Every day I try to figure out how to be a part of helping someone bring their dreams to reality. That I know is my purpose. And so whether it's through Loud or Boss Babes or The Chamber, I'm trying to figure out how I can help someone bring their dreams to reality. A lot of times it's in the art world or it's in women entrepreneurs, but that's what I love to do.
When we're on purpose, it seems so much easier, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Because that's just side noise over there. We have this bigger thing.
Yes.
We are fortunate here at Community News to be able to be on purpose most of the time. But sometimes it takes a long time to be able to get there. Some people are really lucky when they're really young. They go, okay, I want to save the world. I want to be a cancer doctor. And so it's a lot easier. But when we get into the creative end, sometimes we sort of get, we go off on that. But let's talk about when you do your events. Tell us about what it's like as you're getting into it and when you're doing it, and then afterwards. Tell us about your feelings with that.
Wow. So I've been producing events since 2007. That was my first event that I produced. And I remember emailing one of like the most prominent events in Miami, and I emailed it and I said, can I come and intern with you and learn, more about? And I remember the email reply was, I don't think you have what it takes. You're not. Yeah.
Wow.
And I said, oh my gosh. And I cried for a few days. And then I said, no, like it's burning inside of me. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it. And that was fuel for me to produce. And so when you ask about, what's going on in my mind, it's like, it's fuel to help people because I care so much about someone having a dream and wanting to bring it to life and they don't know how. And so for me, it's like that purpose that fuels me to produce,
And how do we reinforce it to the people that are showing their wares, whatever it happens to be, and applaud them and recognize them? What do you do?
Okay, rephrase that question. Let me understand what you're saying more.
The example would be if somebody's a young child is playing an instrument.
Yes.
And you applaud them, and afterwards you pat them on the back. Way to go! You're great. So, what do you do for these striving artists?
Education is so big for me, and applause is good, but it's after the applause what to do, right? Like, are you going to continue learning, continue building? And for example, I know this esthetician, right, and she's working her business and all of that. But right. But I'm like, well, what happens after that? Right. Are you going to own the building that you're in and maybe rent out, suites to other estheticians? Do you want to be 60 years old still being an esthetician? Right. So for me, it's what happens after the applause. Yes, you can get the applause. It's great. But I want to keep.
So what role does your advanced education play in that type of thinking?
Oh. What role does it play? I think it really is who I am. Like I want people to learn more and more and more. It never stops. Like for me, even to this day with my doctorate, I'm reading all the time because I have to know more because the world is forever changing, and you if you want to be great, you have to know what's happening.
I'm so glad you brought that up. 1982, 83, the internet starts to get a little popular. We were fortunate enough to be able to say we need that, because it's going to help us distribute our content, and we're a great adopter of that. And we see now with AI, if you're not involved today, you're already 5 years behind.
Yes.
For starters.
Yes.
And back in the 80s, when I get a call from the Sun Sentinel and the Miami Herald, they wanted to work with us. And I said, my brother Grant, I go, they're concerned about this internet thing. So here's the Herald making $1 million a week down their net. Right?
Yeah.
And I went, if they are concerned about it, we have to get in that. We can't just be concerned, that we have to do that.
Yes.
And so we realized with AI, it's important for everybody, including artists, right, to be able to be involved. And behind Michelle, there's a AI-assisted brochure board back there.
Yes.
That was created by one of our guys here, AI-assisted. He created these cartoon characters, or their action heroes, and then he put on the heads of everybody, our hosts.
Oh, wow.
Right? And it was like, because
Yeah.
he knew that he could get that. And so often people miss it. So what's your advice to people, and including the people you work with, about their involvement with AI?
Oh, jump in, and jump in fast. Like you just said, if you're not already in it, you're 5 years behind. It's so true. Everything moving forward will be AI.
And so we've got a couple of minutes left. Would like to, again, pretty soon you're going to have a show right here. You're going to be sitting here and we're going to be watching you. And
Yes.
if we're lucky, Rochelle is going to produce the show. Again, we invite you to invite people that are important to you.
Yes.
And one of the things we'd like is that perhaps that you could find a former student that would like to come down. And so if it's 2 people, or I mean, did you have 2 other people, that would be wonderful.
Awesome.
We're committed to making Miami-Dade County a better place.
Thank you.
And you are doing that.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Since you do these things all the time, would you look in the red camera right over there and sign us out? All right.
I am Dr. Karine Melissa, and I am here with Miami Community Newspapers, and we just talked a lot about the community and